All right, guys, before we get into it, don't forget that the 50% off absolutely everything, it ends at 12 a.m. tonight. So if you're listening to this Friday, it ends at 12 a.m. tonight. Then the 50% off everything sale is done. It is done, and we don't know when we'll do it again. At the very least, it will not happen for another year, but that is absolutely not locked in. It could be longer than a year. We'll see how we go. But that is at 12 a.m. tonight. Boom. 50% off everything. Over. Let's get into it.
Just a bloke in a bar.
What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to another episode of Pack Her Up, Boys. Time for the ritualistic, even though we've missed it pretty much last 3 weeks or 2 weeks. Oh, wow. Oh, yeah, that's beautiful. That's beautiful. I tell you what, with this warmer weather, all the bloke beer is going down well. Make sure to grab a case of bloke beer from your local independent liquor store. If they don't stock it, just ask politely, could you get some bloke beer in? Because we are in the company that delivers to all independent liquor stores. We are in that. So just ask them politely, could you get some bloke beer in? If you haven't given it a try, give her a try. If you have given it a try, support the platform. We are the beer that loves Australian sport. There is no debating that. So give her a crack. Bloke beer. And as usual, guys, if you've had a big week, just enjoy yourself on the weekend. Pack everything up in a little box in the head. So you're on your way home right now. You pack it up in a box in your head, you put it aside, and then you only reopen the box on Monday. Don't think about it over the weekend. Enjoy your weekend. Have a good time. Matty, how you going, brother?
Good. I actually took a case to at that festival I went to the other week, and I foolishly put it in the the big esky that everyone's drinks go in, and then I reckon I only had like 3 or 4. But I saw like a lot of other people just drinking it, so I thought that was a bit of a win.
Yeah, people are like genuinely always like, oh shit, this is actually really good. Our biggest challenge is we're such a small team. We're not a beer that has a huge brewery, with all this money, and like we're a tiny team that wants to grow steadily but slowly. So we don't have the resources to like chuck ads everywhere, and that's by design. It's something that I think that I want to do this in a very organic way.
Yeah.
But most people, when they try it, whether it's the media or the lager, is like, yeah, pretty bloody good.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, it's a good beer. What else has been happening in the world of Matty?
Well, it's heating up, and have you seen the weather tomorrow? It's like 40 degrees.
Oh, is it really?
Yeah. But cricket, Big Bash is on tonight. I'm going to the cricket. I'm super pumped for that.
Okay.
Kind of just we're winding down. It's the wind down part of the year. I'll be in Bali this time next week, so.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah.
What day you leave again?
Friday. Actually, I'll tell you what I did. This is the dumbest thing ever.
Yeah.
So I was like looking for flights, and Bali is a 6-hour flight, so it's like you don't stop over. But I found this ridiculously cheap airfare.
Yep.
And
like an idiot.
Yeah. And I always look for the cheapest option to do anything. That's how I'm wired. And
it's because you're on minimum $7 an hour here at the bloke.
That's right. Got to be frivolous with my cash. No. Booked this flight, and it was like I just didn't even think. And it was to Bali via Malaysia, and my geography is not very good, but Malaysia is further away than Bali. So it was an 8-hour flight to Kuala Lumpur, 3-hour stopover, and then 3 hours, and then after a day after I didn't even tell Courtney. I'm like, I did this, and she's like, why? Anyway, I was like, you know what? Screw it. It's so cheap. We would have saved like not heaps, but maybe like $400, $500, which is good, but I was probably not worth it. But anyway, I get a call yesterday from AirAsia saying, "Oh, your second flight got cancelled. It's now 4 hours later."
Oh,
and I was like, "Oh yeah." I was telling the boys last night, and they were just like, what are you doing?"
I tell you what though, so it's 4 hours later.
Yeah.
You get to see a little bit of Malaysia.
Yeah.
That's a positive.
It is, but I ended up just booking a direct flight this morning.
Oh.
Yeah. I was like, I can't do it. I can't sit in. It's a 6-hour flight to Bali. This would have been an 18-hour journey.
But you would have got to see Malaysia.
Can you leave the airport?
Yeah. Pretty sure. Yeah, you can leave, go out of customs and come back in.
Well, it's too late now. I just booked a direct flight this morning.
Could have been a mad adventure.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Oh well.
Big miss there.
Yeah, so I'm just taking L's everywhere.
So you spent more money and far out. No,
Yeah.
I would have been, look, I get it. You want to just get straight to Bali.
Yeah.
But a little adventure in, because okay, so let's say it lands on time and you've got 7 hours.
7
then?
hours stopover.
So essentially a whole day.
True.
So you could have got off and gone into like Kuala Lumpur,
Yeah.
had a good look around for, let's say,
It's not a good airport too.
3 or 4 hours.
Yep.
You'd still have 3 hours to get back into the airport.
See, I don't think that. I don't think. I'm
Glass half full, baby.
Yeah, I know. I don't think into the future enough. I'm just a right now person.
Oh, you're right now.
Yeah.
Oh, far out. Oh, wow. So not only do you not get the adventure, you
Yep.
spent more money.
Yeah, so I think I've spent an extra. I'm gonna get a full refund.
Oh,
Fortunately,
okay.
I get it in 45 days. But
Oh, so you get a refund.
I get a refund,
but
but
the cash flow takes a hit.
yeah, the cash flow takes a hit, and I spent an extra 600, but it's fine.
So you basically ended up spending what you would have spent anyway, you fucking idiot.
Yeah, I know. It's so dumb.
Oh my God. You know what? If there's ever evidence that we are our own worst enemy, like no one's battling you, you're battling yourself.
100%.
People are trying to help you.
Yeah.
And you just fuck yourself at every turn.
Time and time again.
You know what you could say though? Hey, Misso, you book it next time then.
Yeah. Yeah, I
If you've
think
got
that's
an
what
issue
we'll
with
do.
the way I book things, you book it then.
Yeah, maybe I will do that next time, sure.
Weaponize your incompetence. That's
Hey, that's why I never do any cooking.
because you're terrible at it.
Gave her a terrible dinner. And she's fantastic, but now she just takes over.
Oh man, it's that obviously weaponizing your incompetence is a joke. But I will
of
say,
course.
man, one thing I did learn growing up, like in relationships or whatever, you don't want to set the standard too high when you first meet.
100%, yeah.
Because the only way is down, bro. The only way is down, and also like if you start a relationship. Are you really being yourself with those high standards? Like if you're being honest with yourself, is this the guy you are every single day? Probably not.
Absolutely not.
Whereas if you just roll in and be like, this is who I am, this is what I do, this is my lifestyle. Obviously there's compromises in relationships. That's what relationships are about, compromises. But the only way is up.
Yeah, in theory, so true. But like, take yourself back to that first week when you're with them for the first time. You're like so excited.
Well, when you get older as a man, and that's why, I mean, I don't know anything about relationships, guys. It's just my personal preference or opinion. I personally think men should wait a little bit longer till they're older.
Yeah.
To get into a very serious relationship, as in marriage.
Yeah.
Because men don't know what they want until a little bit later. Because when you're younger, when you're like 16 up to like 25, whatever, you see a hot chick, you're just stoked she's interested in you. You're just like,
Absolutely.
oh my God, I cannot believe a chick that hot is even giving me the time of day. Whereas when you get older, obviously you're still like, I can't believe this really beautiful woman is interested. But you're like, I know what I want and what I expect out of a relationship, and you can communicate that.
Yeah.
And that way, going forward, there's no like, hang on a sec, like this is what you weren't like this when you started. And it's the same with women, like, don't wait till you're too old, but the older you get, the more you know this is what I expect in a relationship from a partner.
Yeah.
If you get that out of the way initially, geez, it makes for a lot smoother.
Oh
sailing.
yeah, if you both are like mature enough to set those boundaries from day one.
When you're younger, you don't set the boundaries.
God,
you're
no.
just going with the flow,
100.
going, oh yeah, like this is just hectic, how good. They might do something that like it pisses you off or devastates you, but you go, oh, all right, you know what? I'll just let that pass because I'm so keen on this person.
I tell you what I did at the start of Courtney and I, so a couple of years ago. So we started dating in around September, and then around October, like a month in, we were like, oh, it was my idea. Let's do a date night every week. Every week, right? And I did it on Thursday, and it was good. It was good. It was good at the start.
Oh my!
And then it turns into 1 week, and then it turns into a fortnight. But we tried really hard. But then March rolls around, and Thursday night footy's on, and then I immediately had to pull the plug.
Caught up in the throes of love and lust. Idiot.
I know.
We'll do a date. I mean, look, it's romantic. Look. How crazy is it? Like when you're like fully in the initial honeymoon phase of a relationship. It's like you're on drugs.
Oh, it's the best.
It's literally like you are high 20, especially like if you found you're genuine. That's your person.
Yes.
Like you're going to marry, you're going to have children. Like that honeymoon phase is better than any drugs you could ever take.
100%. It's the best. It's you wake up with a lease on life.
Oh my God. Whereas like you don't, and that's not just with every relationship you're in. Like, obviously every relationship has a bit of a honeymoon phase, but when you find you're like, your marriage partner or whatever, it's literally, as I said, it is better than any high you'll ever experience.
Yep.
Obviously, eventually it fades and it turns more into like a a partnership where you are both building life together, which is even more special because that takes time, that takes effort. Whereas a honeymoon phase doesn't take time or effort; it's just this natural connection. But anyway, that's the Beaks love advice for the listeners. Oh my God, what are we talking about, man? It's Pack Her Up Boys. We're allowed to look. That's why it's called Pack Her Up Boys, because we're allowed to talk about whatever we want. But let's get into what people don't turn to the Beaks love advice. They really don't. Maybe they do. Maybe there's thousands of people out there that love Beaks love advice, but I highly fucking doubt that shit. Haumole Olakau'atu has signed on an 8-year deal with Manly, which takes him until 2031. His original deal ended in 25, but this is a new deal, reportedly $8 million over 8 years.
My initial thought was, and you can probably very easily answer this, but 8 years is a long time, right? For $8 million. Like, we're going to see a new broadcast deal then. So I'm wondering how much of this has been back-ended.
I saw other people report 7.2.
Okay.
So, like, these figures are just like, and also the $8 million over 8 years, it could be like, for the first 4 years, it could be like $600,000.
That's what I mean. I wonder how back-ended it is.
And so people go, oh, that's crazy. But then you go, well, hang on a sec. When it jumps up to, $1 million, we could be in a whole new broadcast deal.
For sure.
So from that perspective, it's a good thing. But for both parties, it's a massive risk. 8 years. 8 years, like, does Olakau'atu get comfortable? And then the club's like, Olakau'atu gets into his third year and he's like, man, I still got friggin' 5 years left of a lot of coin. And then on the flip side of that, Olakau'atu's situation, if the club continues to struggle, because they have struggled for quite a while now, like they had one, good solid year, but look, I wouldn't say struggle. Like, when I say struggle for quite a while now, not on the level of like your Dogs, your Tigers, nowhere near that. But you'd have to say they're nowhere near like 2013 down to like 2005.
No,
not even close.
That golden era was amazing. And since then, they missed the finals multiple years. They've made it a couple times, made one prelim. They've missed the last two. So
and so from Olakau'atu's perspective, he is an origin level player.
Yep.
He's only going to get better. So the downside for him potentially is he stays at a club that doesn't win a premiership, doesn't get close to a premiership. Now, look, as I said, we're not talking Bulldogs, Tigers here. Manly absolutely have the potential to grow into a premiership threat. You put Tommy in the side fit and they are a premiership threat.
Sure.
But the reality is right now, with what we've seen the last couple of years, they're still a few years away from a premiership threat.
Absolutely.
Again, it all hinders on Tom.
Depends on Tom.
And so that's the negative for Olakau'atu is if he's at this club, he's slaving away, they're struggling, the environment sucks, coaches are coming and going, that is the concern for him. But he also sits there and goes, I'm getting paid some really, really good coin. Good coin. So it's a mixture. It's like, in the perfect world, it's an incredible signing for both parties. You've got an origin level back rower that's only going to get better. In the world where everything goes wrong, it's an absolute disaster. That's with these longer contracts, that's what it basically is. There's no real middle ground in them because you can't afford to, like, let's say people go, oh yeah, well the middle ground would be he plays solidly and sees out his career, but you don't want someone on your books for 8 years just playing solidly.
Exactly.
You want, if they're on an 8-year contract, 10-year contract, they need to be in your top 3 players essentially every single week. Now, they can have down weeks or injury here or there. Like, it doesn't have to be for the 8-year period. But for most games that they are on the field not injured, they should be in your top 3 players if they're on, top 4 players, because you've got DCE, Tommy and Jake that are on the big coin.
Yes.
And then he would be just under that. And I think that what Manly have looked at and gone, they can't afford to put him on 800K right now, I'd assume. And because you couldn't, there's no way. Like Schuster and him on reportedly 800K, it's just impossible.
Yep.
So they've gone, okay, we need to keep this guy. We know he's getting offered, like he absolutely could get 800K at a lot of other clubs. So how do we keep him? Well, it's the age-old back-ended deal. It's the age-old back-ended deal. And the thing is this back-ended deal, like they get, a bad rap, but it's only because we hear about the bad stories.
Exactly.
You never hear about the good stories of back-ended deals because they just go through, like they keep playing well. So
most well, not I don't know about most, but a lot of deals would be back ended.
For sure. Well, deals usually always go up.
Yeah.
But they just have this kind of this bad reputation.
Yeah, it is. The only risky thing is we don't know what the next broadcast deal is, but it's probably a risk worth
definitely
taking.
going up.
Yeah, it's a risk worth taking for sure.
Well, like it's risky for Olakau'atu, not the club. That's why it's an 8-year deal from the club's perspective. Is because they know for sure it's going to go up.
Yep.
Like, so they're sitting there going, well, $1 million in 4 years' time is basically $700,000. Now it's like what you look at this new bumper deal that just happened. About $700,000 is the same as $1 million.
Yes.
Because we'll go a bit further. We'll go $800,000 is about $1 million because I think it's about a 20% increase in the capital, 25%. So you go again, then you go, well, $1 million is only $600K, and so that's what the club's banking on. So I'm stoked for Olakau'atu.
Oh, same.
What an incredible deal to get done by the manager, like his management. And these are a lot of people go, managers are pointless. They're not pointless. You reckon a player's getting an 8-year deal at a club?
Yeah, no.
No way. Like, as in a player by himself negotiating?
Yeah.
No way. A manager does that. A manager's the one that gets those huge, huge deals at clubs. So massive coup by his manager, and I'm stoked for Olakau'atu. The challenge for him now is not to get comfortable.
Yes.
The challenge for him, because it's such a long deal and it's such a big deal, the target's on your back. If you don't deliver, like it's just funny. If he was on a 3-year deal and it was $800,000 a year, and he played poorly, there'd be some people that would, like, oh mate, you're on $800K, you got to play better, you're on big wicket. But because it's 8 years and this huge figures thrown out, now all of a sudden it's, unless you are killing it every week, you're not worth it.
Yeah, it's like when Fafita was on 1.2 million or whatever for the Titans, and he had that average year.
I saw an article the other day and it blew my mind. The article was saying that Fafita's yet to fulfill his potential going down to the Titans.
What?
I was like,
did they not watch last year? He killed it last year.
What are you talking about? Like, he was essentially the best back rower last year.
He was.
He took a pay cut.
Yeah, he was easily the best back row in the comp last year. Wow, that's rubbish.
Yeah, and I don't think he won the Dalian back row, which was absolutely surprising.
I thought he did.
I think it was Olakau'atu and could you just Google? Yeah, no, I didn't. I don't think he did. I think it was Olakau'atu and Liam Martin, maybe. I think, but he won our team of the year back rower.
Oh, maybe that's what I'm thinking of, our one.
But yeah, so yeah, that's the challenge, and these deals come because of market pressure. These deals come where Manly's backed into a corner of going, shit, we have the option of losing an origin level and international back rower, or we give him this back-ended deal where he's probably on lower at the moment, then he jumps up in year 3 or 4. So I'm sure there are clauses in there too. I mean, they'd be crazy not to be clauses in there, surely. So again, it just all depends on if Olakau'atu commits himself every single year, the same aggression that he has the years prior. It's a great deal, in my opinion.
It's Manly are taking a few risks at the moment. Well, they're going to have to. Like, what's Tom Trbojevich's next deal going to look like?
Yeah.
Obviously, that they've taken a punt on Luke Brooks. Now this. So,
at least, look, the thing I like with Manly, whether you agree or disagree, and some of the signings I disagree with, like, for example, Brooks one, I agree with it. Yep. I don't agree with the length of it. At least they're trying stuff.
I agree.
At least they're almost going all in. Now, I'm still going to give Seabolt a fair crack in regards to heading into this new year because he inherited the last roster, but he kind of did the same thing at the Broncos and made huge sweeping calls and it didn't work. That doesn't mean it won't work here though. So I think even though I think his first year has been disappointing at Manly, I still think he deserves a fair crack heading into this year because he's made changes. These are the boys he's brought in. So judge him on the roster that he has chosen to have rather than the roster that he inherited off the back of Desi leaving.
Yeah. By the way, Fafita did win.
So he did win.
Him and Liam Martin were the two winners.
Him and Liam Martin. Okay. I can't believe that article even more.
Yeah, I know.
Having potential, bro, he's 22 or 23 max, and he just won Dalian back row of the year.
And fought his way back into Queensland.
Like what?
Yeah.
And he took a pay cut to stay.
Absolutely.
And also, like, people are forgetting the reason he was signed on a massive wicket to come to the Titans was to attract other talent. Like, people forget the context of the signing. The signing wasn't, you are 100% worth market talent. It was, holy shit, we can't attract many people to the Titans. We're struggling. Let's pay overs for a young superstar that's, like, exploded onto the scene, and then we'll get more players in. And look at the Titans now.
Yeah.
Has that not happened?
Well, they should be fighting for the 8 next year.
Absolutely. Like, look at that forward pack now.
Yes.
Does that forward pack happen? Now, I don't know who signed first.
Tino signed first.
Tino signed first. Now, Tino's a little bit different because when he did sign, he was relative rookie. Like, he hadn't done what... So he signed, then he went on he'd done some good things, don't get me wrong. But you got to remember, he was coming off the bench for Melbourne. We hadn't really... Whereas for Feeder, I think he was an Origin player at the time and absolutely decimating teams. Like, he was the next big thing.
And when he signed, it was the biggest news of the week. Like, it was
ever.
ridiculous.
Whereas when Tino signed, he was still massive rookie. But all these other signings they've managed to achieve, I think the Titans don't get the credit they deserve for those. Like, they signed Tino, like the guy that Melbourne wanted back. They signed for Feeder. Obviously, they got Foreign. Campbell they've brought through. You know, like, I think they deserve a bit of credit. Anyway.
And, like, just re-signing people like AJ Brimson.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely.
I'll just check that Tino thing while you talk. But
yeah, I think when Tino signed, I think it was his first year in first grade. I think it might have been his first year in first grade. And the Titans took a massive risk, like put him on a pretty big wicket.
Yeah.
But I mean, you know, looking back, you're like, is it a massive risk? Like, fucking 6'6", giant, big ball, can ball play, motor for days. But yeah, anyway, the Olakau'atu signing. Look, as I said, the obvious risks are there. You know, getting complacent or Manly struggle, and then Olakau'atu's like, man, I'm wasting my career here. But at the same time, the talent is there. He's been playing some good footy for a few years now. This is what you got to do to keep him. I'm stoked for Olakau'atu, and I think he's going to have an incredible year next year. Yeah,
me too. Yeah, just confirming, Tino was in December, and Fafita was the following July.
It's I mean, think of that. Like, Titans don't get the raps. Those two signings.
It's crazy when you look back.
It's a crazy good
And I remember being like wow about the Fafita thing. I don't remember being that wowed about the Tino thing. So
I'm telling you right now, it was really early on in his career. Oh, actually, what year was it in?
2019.
So go check Tino's how many games he had in 2019, because then you'll get a good idea of you know, where he was at. But anyway, back to Olakau'atu. Great signing. I think that if I had to estimate like what he was on,
Sorry. He played 5 games at that point.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow, okay. I didn't know that.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so Olakau'atu, I reckon, again, this is pure estimate. I reckon he's probably on like 600-700K at the moment. Then he probably jumps up to like maybe 8 next year, as in 25.
Yep.
The year after that, maybe jumps up to 9. Then the year after that, maybe $1 million, maybe 1.1. And look, I don't know what the math is then. Maybe by the end of it, maybe he's on 1.2.
Yeah.
But by the end of it, 1.2 will be worth fucking like, that'll literally be like 600K today.
Yeah.
Which is
absolutely
insane to think.
Yeah. But good on him.
Good on him. I'm stoked for him. For a guy that, like, he played a bit of footy growing up, but he was playing basketball, wasn't he, a few years ago?
I think so.
Yeah. And when we look around the league and you go, how many players can do what Olakau'atu can do? Like, probably on a handful. On the edge, there's probably a handful. Like, you got Kikau. I'm trying to think. What other edge back rower replicates what he can do?
There's none. He's ridiculous.
Other than Kikau.
Yeah, Kikau can. Even those two are like still different.
Still definitely different.
Yeah. Probably those are the two that can.
And that's where, like, when people balk at this, like, why are they so keen to keep him? He's not in the spine. It is very hard to find players that can impact games.
Yep.
That can genuinely, you're struggling, they get the ball, boom, completely changes. And Olakau'atu is that kind of player.
Absolutely. So, man, I'd love to see him play for the Blues.
I've been calling him for the Blues for a while. I personally, he's big enough to come off the bench and play through the middle, just a destructive middle through. And I would be surprised, like, as long as he does his job this year and plays decent, I will be surprised if he's not in the squad. I'd be surprised, at least on the bench. You telling me he couldn't play through the middle 20 minutes going hard?
Yeah,
he could. Put it this way. You reckon Queensland want him coming on at the 30th minute mark?
And that's it. There's no way Queensland want Olakau'atu coming off the bench. Yeah.
Like, there's no way they want that shit. And especially if he's coming on only for 20, 30 minutes. Like, if he came on and played for 80 minutes, that's a little bit different because Queensland would be like, all right, we'll just work him over because he's a rookie. He may handle it, but let's see if he can handle it. Whereas 20, 30 minutes, it's like that's the worst of both worlds for Queensland because it's like he's not going to gas and he's going to cause no matter how hard we tackle him, he will bump a few of us off.
Yep.
And you pay as I said, you pay a premium when you ask yourself the question, how many other players can do what he does in his position? And if it's a very low amount, usually you pay a premium for that. So, yeah, I'm stoked for Olakau'atu. And as I said earlier, at least Manly are trying things.
Exactly.
At least they're trying stuff. There's a few other clubs where you're like, fuck, you're playing it too safe. Like, if you're not making the 8, what's the point? Like, yeah, okay, everyone laughs at the wooden spoon, but you know what? If you're not making the 8, who gives a shit?
Exactly.
Seriously, does anyone give a shit that they come 10th?
Yeah.
Like, no, they don't. No. And I understand more pressure is on the club the further you finish down the ladder. I get that. But you're in it to play finals.
If you miss the finals, you miss the finals.
Yeah, like, it's just, it just is what it is. Like, put it this way, you look at the Dragons, who actually, when you see where they finished, you go, oh, they kind of...
Yeah.
So, but they're like in the same conversation as the Tigers and the Bulldogs when you talk about where they're at as a club. Mm. So it just shows you that the Tigers, it's been a disaster after disaster, but when you look at the squad and the moves they're making, you're like, I can see the Tigers challenging for the 8 probably around the same times I could see the Dragons challenge for the 8. With the Ben Hunt, Ben Hunt being so good that maybe he could do that this year, but all things considered. So stoked. Kurt Capewell signs with the Warriors. What a great signing for the Warriors. Far out. Absolutely perfect signing for the Warriors. I will say there's been mixed. I've seen mixed comments where some people are like, oh, good on him for getting the deal, and we've got these young guys coming through. And I agree with that. Like, if you had to make the call of keeping Piakora, Ricky, and letting go of Capewell, I think you have to take the risk of keeping the young fellas. Even though Capewell's, I think he's only 30 still. But the people that are fully sold on the idea of, like, it's a good decision right now, I don't think it's 100% certain that we've lost Flegler, we've lost Herbie, we've lost Capewell, we've lost Palacia. At the very least, like, Capewell, he came as well as Reynolds and turned the club around. And we always talk on the podcast about the impact players have off the field. The impact Kurt Capewell has off the field. They don't, no matter what you say, no matter how good Piakora and Ricky play on the field, which could be incredible, they don't have someone to replace that right now, the Brisbane Broncos.
Yeah.
They may be able to make up for it because, Ricky takes his another level and Piakora. But what we do know for sure is that experience, it may not hurt the Broncos, but to say it definitely won't hurt the Broncos, that's just craziness to me. Like, it matters. Capewell brought a lot on the field, but also heaps off the field for that young squad. If
I was the Broncos and it was an absolute perfect world, I would have kept him for one more year and then let him go. However, I think they've done him a bit of a favour because he gets to have a 3-year deal at the Warriors, which I don't think Brisbane weren't going to offer him a long-term deal.
Well, I think it's funny because it's easy for us to say that, but I'm sure Capewell was kind of like, when they approached him and said, mate, you're not going to get a contract next and you're not going to get a crack, pretty much. Because the thing is that I'm sure the Broncos put pressure on him of, mate, if you don't release and get a contract somewhere else, life will be tough for you here.
Yeah, okay.
I'm sure that. So that initial conversation, I'm sure Capewell was like, are you, like, come on, man. Like, I came here with the idea of turning this club around, and have I not helped to turn this club around? So I'm sure he probably was hurt with that. But, I mean, so to pretend that Broncos just did him this mad favour, I don't think Broncos are still being ruthless as fuck. Broncos are still, I wouldn't say the exact same as what Penrith have done, but they're still ruthlessly taking a guy that's still got a year in his contract and saying, mate, you should leave.
Yeah.
But just like we said with Penrith, that's understandable. The Broncos are always going to put themselves first. Penrith are always going to put themselves first. And if you're a fan, you're going to be like, you want that.
Yeah.
You want that.
That does make sense for sure. If I'm the Broncos, I would have kept him for another year. That's all I'm trying to say. Yeah,
for sure. But I think that from their perspective, I've got no inside information on this, but as ruthless winners, you wouldn't want your club to release him unless there was maybe salary cap pressure. to keep him that specific year. Because why would the Broncos release a guy like Kurt Capewell this year? Like, if they did it out of the goodness of the heart, like, fuck, fair play to them. Like, they deserve massive, massive raps. If that is the case, they've gone, listen, mate, we've got these young guns. We want you to get a good contract. We love what you've done. We appreciate what you've done. Then they deserve a massive rap, the Brizzy Broncos. But surely, as ruthless winners, you wouldn't.
Yeah, true. Yeah, you're right.
Surely they wouldn't. If they did, like, I'm proud if they did. That's incredible. But
you're probably on the money.
Surely
there.
not.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
If you're trying to win
win comps here. Yeah.
Yeah, we're trying to win comps. We're not trying to. And Kurtie Capewell is a key part of that.
Yeah.
But I think it probably came down to salary cap pressure.
Maybe I just see the good in people too much.
Look, you know what? The truth is, both of us don't know.
We don't know. Yeah.
We absolutely don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, put it this way, I think in a perfect world, Kurtie Capewell would have probably wanted to stay at the Broncos. So I'm sure he was disappointed of getting told, mate, you can move on. But so all of that to say, that initial conversation would have been, disappointing. But as you said, at the end of the day, long term, like bird's eye view, it is a massive win for both people.
For sure.
Like, Broncos may hurt in that first year or so, but they do get to keep Piakora and Ricky.
Yeah.
And Kurtie Capewell gets a 3-year deal that he wouldn't have got at the Brisbane Broncos. And Warriors get an experienced edge back rower.
Really good for Warriors.
It's massive. Yeah. It's so good for the Warriors because they've just signed Jackson Ford as well.
Yep.
So they got those two on the edges now. That's bloody good edge. Like, I look at that edge and I say, look, is that the tippity top edge? No, but is that edge good enough to do a job on the tippity top? Absolutely.
Yep.
Absolutely they are. I mean, Kurt Capewell was played in Origin. Yep. Jackson Ford, was outstanding this year. If you saw a game and it was, Fafita versus Capewell, would you be surprised if Capewell did a job on Fafita? Absolutely not. So I think you get that initial hurt out of the way of what you want. You get that initial disappointment that you can't stay at the Broncos and not going to offer you a contract, blah, blah, blah. And you look at it long term, you go, you know what? 3-year deal. Get to see if he does retire, but get to see my career out on a decent wicket.
Just from the Warriors side of things, like, they obviously went really well this year, made a prelim. The amount of experience, just the experience heads they're getting between him and Roger now into that team next year, it's only good.
It's only good. The only thing standing in the Warriors' way, in my opinion, next year is complacency. Is having this incredible year, the whole country got behind you, the whole of rugby league got behind you, and then, you look around in preseason and you go, do we have the same hard desperation that we had last year? And then if you're being honest with yourself, you're not. Is everyone as nervous? Is everyone as on their toes when, that's their only challenge because their squad has only improved.
Yeah, exactly. They shouldn't be going backwards, yeah.
They shouldn't be going backwards. So the only way that happens is massive injuries, or they get a bit complacent. That's the only way. I actually heard, and I don't know if it's true. I don't know if the comment section will know, but I heard that Volkman did up a sub 4 1.2K. So to put that into context,
I don't know what that means.
Dearden in the that same run, got the record, was 4:13 or whatever.
Right, okay.
Look, this was just a random comment that I read. And it was liked by a few people, so I'm just going pure speculation. But I Volkman got sub 4, so 350 fucking whatever. If it is true that
Ronald Volkman sub 4,
sub 4s,
jeez,
that is flying. But then you think about it and you go, well, he's a small stature. So, because it's what it is for the listeners, it's up 20 metres, back 20 metres, up 40 metres, back 40 metres.
Oh, so you're not just running. Oh, okay.
Up 60 metres, back 60 metres. So the reason why you go, 1.2K, 4 minutes, that's shit.
Yeah.
Straight 1.2K, you're looking at fucking, sub 3s. Right. But the reason why it's so hard is because you've got to stop, start.
Right, so you've got to have a bit of agility in you.
Well, not agility, that's a lot of extra anaerobic or aerobic fitness by having to stop, go back, stop, go back, stop, go back. So you do up 20, back 20, up 40, back 40, up 60, back 60, 5 times. And so, and so the reason why it's harder is because it's the stop and start, which is like rugby league and union to a degree of you having to stop and start. The only reason why you would do long distance in league is just for mental toughness, really, of just getting Ks in your legs and just building your legs fitness up. But very pointless fitness-wise going and running 10Ks.
Yeah.
Because it's not what you do in a rugby league game. A rugby league game is all stop-start, up 10, back 10, up 10, back 10, sprint 40 metres, back 40 metres. As I said, you can still do long distance to get fitness in your legs, which is required, that good base for pre-season. But if you're in like the depths of pre-season and you're doing long runs, it's purely for mental toughness reasons. It's not for... Anyway, I saw a comment that was like he subbed sub-4s.
Jeez.
So I'd love for confirmation on that if that's true, because holy shit.
I wonder how much we'll see of him in 2024.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because they're pretty stacked.
They are pretty stacked. I hope so. I hope we see more of him. The Big Bash, hey? The Big Bash kicked off last night with Brisbane Heat absolutely destroying Melbourne by 13 plus, 103 runs. I mean, come on. I am Mr. Cricket. I fucking told you, losers. Like, I'm sick of this. Like, everyone thinks it's a joke that I am the most knowledgeable man in the history of cricket. But we go on to Monday's review, and Hammy's like, oh, I fucking love cricket. And Timmy's like, oh, I'll do sports super coach fucking for cricket. And they pick Melbourne. Guru fucking carrying on. Matty doesn't know what the fuck's going on either. All of them pick Melbourne.
I picked Brisbane.
But that was because he was copying me.
Okay.
And they all picked Melbourne. And what do you know? Brisbane come out with that fucking Queensland spirit and belt them around the park, absolutely tonk their cherry to death and dominate them by 13 plus 103 runs. That's another win for Mr. Cricket. Colin Munro got 99 not out, while Khawaja and Labuschagne?
Yep.
I always think of lasagna when I see that.
Yeah, it looks like it, doesn't it?
But he's my man. Labuschagne's my man. He chipped in with some runs too. Tonight is the night, but Steve Smith will be playing at the Sydney Cricket Grounds for the Sixers. The Sixers are playing the Melbourne Renegades, so make sure to tune in to see Steve Smith, plus a host of other stars in what is set to be a great game. Make sure to tune in, guys, to the Big Bash cricket back on Australian soil. It's the good stuff. It's good stuff.
It's great. We got cricket on every night for the next 4 or 5 weeks. I love the Big Bash. It's just when you get starved of sport, even it's just for a couple of weeks, you get absolutely craving it. But last night's game was an absolute thrashing, but it was still so exciting. I love the Big Bash.
Because there's no warming into the contest.
Oh no,
and it's just fucking.
It's bang.
Going,
it's fireworks.
Cherries. They should have called it cherry tonkin.
That's it. 100%.
They seriously should. Also, sports bet. The Big Bash bets we put on Monday's show are live on Sportsbet. So if you navigate it by going into Big Bash section, then go into futures, then go into T20 futures BYO, you'll see what we put on. So Hammies BYO, Scorchers to win tournament, S Johnson top tournament wicket taker. So all that kind of stuff. The people that we pick. So basically, Matty, he's got his.
Yeah.
And then I've got mine, Beak. I've got Heat to win tournament, A Zampa top tournament wicket taker. All of that is on Sportsbet, and you can get on it. I mean, my Heat to win tournament and Zampa top tournament wicket taker, it's paying 126.
Yeah, and that's not even including the runs. It's just the wicket taker.
Yeah, it's just a wicket taker.
So it's good value there.
That's fucking great value. Chuck a sneaky fiver on it.
Absolutely.
And then my other BYO, Heat to win tournament, Maxwell top tournament run scorer is paying 151. So it's all there, guys. BYO Sportsbet. Check her out. And massive thank yous always to Sportsbet for partnering. As always, guys, without the support of Sportsbet, things would be very hard. So support people that support us. Gamble responsibly, guys. Don't punt more than you can afford. Please, I would never want that. Just punt what you can afford. A little fun here and there, but make sure to gamble responsibly.
You know what's funny? This is absolute crazy, how small the world is sometimes. But I was in Paddington yesterday to watch my mate play touch before we watched the cricket after, and I was literally walking past this pub, and I was texting Hammy about something unrelated, and he's like, "Oh, where you at now? Are you watching the cricket?" I'm like, "Oh, I'm probably just watching at my mate's house." I'm like, "What about you?" He's like, "Oh, come to the Royal if you want. All the sports bet he having the Christmas party." And I was literally 50 meters away.
No way.
So I was like, sweet. So I just went up and said hi to all of them. It was
the sports bet crew.
Yeah. Great people.
Great crew. I think they had their. So that was that Thursday.
So they had their Christmas party on the boat, and then they went back to that pub after.
Yeah. So I'd love to kick on.
They were deep.
Respect it.
They were deep. Yeah.
Hey, Schwartzbert, not a bunch of shoots, baby.
Oh.
They're just punters and dribblers like us.
Exactly right.
Absolute punters and dribblers like us. Yeah, legend. Really good to work with. Far out.
They're
good
awesome.
to work with. And
They're
as I
great
said,
people.
guys, like genuinely, you know, without sport like that, it would change a lot here. It would change a lot. James Fisher-Harris, he wins the Golden Boot, the first prop ever to win the award. Now, if you're listening to this now, which is Friday, cheeky little, we have Fisher-Harris and Leota on the podcast on Sunday. That is right. I got to sit down with Fisher-Harris and Leota and talk about most of their career in the last few years, and far out, it was good. The Bash Bros, they've actually got their own Instagram, boys and girls, at Bash Bros. So give her a follow. But geez, it was good sitting down with them. And just like, it's so good to sit down. Like, don't get me wrong, I love sitting down with everyone, but sitting down with blokes that are the most ruthless of the most ruthless, and just hearing their mindset with a mixture of, there's a mixture of laugh and everything. Like, they're not walking around fucking like David Goggins all the time. But like, just their mindset, it's a strong mindset.
There was some. I don't know if intense is the right word, because it's like it was all like incredible. But there were some intense moments on that podcast.
Well, talking about the way they play,
Yeah.
it was intense, and just like also, you know, like hearing Leota going like, "Oh, it's just my job," and you're just going, "Fuck, I love hearing that shit." Like, one of the biggest snappers in rugby league, and he's just like, "Oh, yeah, it's just my job. Like, I don't really think about it that much. It's just what it's like." Think about how much we whinge and complain about the little things that we have to do, you know, at work, or, you know, you have to do something extra for your boss and you're like, oh my God, it's not even in my freaking job description. Meanwhile, this guy's going out and snapping blokes left, right and centre.
Snapping NRL players is his job description. But also, like, all the, you know, he could go out and do just his job, but Leota does more than his job. And that's the point I'm trying to make, is like, he always goes above and beyond, and it always just says, "Oh, it's just my job." Like him supporting in the grand final to score the first try to get them back in the game, just his job. It's ridiculous.
Like, fuck, good interview. Love the boys, legend blokes. Really down to earth, really humble.
And like, obviously they've won 3 in a row, so you're never going to doubt their hunger. But no lack of hunger of those two. They want to go 4.
Yeah, put it this way. I didn't sit there and go, "Oh, these boys are fucking being complacent." Looked like they're about to run onto a grand final, the big fellas. So whoever said, and also people are going to say, "Oh, winger hanging around footy players." Hang on a sec. They're hanging around me too. Front rowers hanging around wingers. Why don't we flip we need to flip the conversation. Footy players hanging out with wingers. That's what's happening. Wingers are leading from the front. Well, from the edge. We take the first hit up. We are leading from the front.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, someone tagged me in a scoot I did the other day.
Yeah, I saw that. That was great.
Found the beak.
Nice.
Pinned the beak through the line. Got a quick play the ball. It's so funny, like, that, you know, I'm so far removed from it, and now that I'm in the content game, I'm surrounded with yourself, Tom, Eddie, Guru, Timmy, like, and this sounds fucking, you know, I don't know, but you forget, like, oh yeah, I used to be fucking mad. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I used to be super athletic.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, he's aren't athletic at all, but because I see myself as you guys now, like, not to say that a footy player is better. I'm not saying that at all. Like, fuck. But I am you guys now. I'm not some fucking hero NRL player. I'm a fan of rugby league and I just watch it. Yeah. But then you look at those little clips and you're like, oh shit, like I used to take mad hit ups and that.
Even when I watched that, I was like, oh yeah, true.
No, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Like, I think that, like now, as I said, like when I come into work, I don't come in with this air of like, oh, I used to fucking play NRL.
Exactly.
Like, I come in and I'm like, we're all equal. We're all the boys. We're doing this now. But yeah, you see stuff, you're like, oh shit, I used to do stuff really well. And like, I remember I said on the podcast a bit ago, because you get, you know, so much banter about being a winger and blah, blah, blah. And you're like, and then you see a highlight and you're like, oh, like I did take tough hit ups. I did fucking carry the ball hard and straight. Like, whereas you get so convinced that like, oh, maybe I was soft. Like, oh, maybe I was a soft NRL player. And then you watch the highlights, like, no, you fucking had a dig like anyone else. I mean, you couldn't make NRL if you didn't. Yeah. But yeah, it's just, honestly, it feels like you're watching someone else. Yeah. And as I said, I kind of feel like that as well. Like, I'm like, that's the same bloke that I'm fucking with every day. Completely different. It's bizarre. It is super bizarre. Massive congratulations to Fisher-Harris. Oh, and he walked, that golden boot got announced, like would have been an hour before he came in. Yeah, so it's great timing. And you know what's crazy? He goes, I think he would have been maybe 20 minutes late. And he texted and said, well, I'll be a little bit late. And he walked in and at this stage we didn't know. And he walked in, he goes, we'll just say, how you going, bro? Yeah, good, bro. And he's like, oh man, sorry. Like he's like, oh, the reason I was late just had some like awards thing or whatever.
Yes. Some awards thing.
And so I thought he was handing awards out to kids.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until like after the podcast pretty much where I was like, oh no, Fisher Harris was getting a golden boot.
Yeah.
And basically like, oh, sorry, bro, I'm late. I just had some awards thing.
Awards thing.
Bro, you just won the best player in the world for international footy. Like, what? Pretty sure you could have been fucking 3 hours late and I would have said totally fine, bro.
Sweet.
It's sweet. But again, that's the measure of both Leota and Fisher Harris. Like, they might talk it up, like, obviously they get on the drink. We've seen the Mad Monday stuff. But, day to day, very humble, respectful men that, if what is so impressive about guys like Fisher Harris and Leota is they have every tool in their disposal to not be humble.
Yeah.
Because who's going to tell them to not be humble?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, for example, bro, stop talking, like Fisher Harris, like, bro, stop talking yourself up. Oh, what are you going to do about it?
Exactly.
Absolutely fucking nothing.
Exactly.
And also, they won 3 premierships in a row as the front row pairing.
Yeah.
And yet it couldn't be further from who they are. Like, super humble. Like, even we're talking about their, and you'll get the snippet obviously on Sunday night, their battles with Payne Haas, Paddy Carron and that.
That was sick.
And don't get me wrong, the boys back themselves.
Yeah.
But they were very respectful. But you'll see the insight. The insight's incredible.
It's ridiculous.
But yeah, so that's going to be on Sunday. It was really good to meet the boys. And as I said, when you walk in after winning the Golden Boot and you said, I was just at some awards thing, sorry, I was 20 minutes late. It's like, bro, you are way too humble. I would have fucking walked in with the Golden Boot.
yes.
I would have got a chain in the meantime, had it hanging around my neck. Is it actually a Golden Boot they get? Yeah, it is a trophy with a Golden Boot.
I think it's a trophy, yeah.
Surely. Okay. Now, it's time for everyone. Everyone's been waiting. Roosters sign. All right, you ready? Which camera?
That one.
You ready? Okay. Roosters have signed rugby union outside back Mark Nawaqanitawase. Okay, try again. Nawaqanitawase. I will continue to try to get this right. And the good thing is I've got until 2025 to get this right.
Yes.
Look, are we hopefully getting... Hey, look, reach out, Mark. Reach out, brother. Can I just call you Noah? Brother Noah. Reach out. Maybe a nickname you could throw our way just to help the brother out because the brother's struggling. The brother is going to struggle. No, we will always try our best, guys. You know that. But
This won't shock you. Hammy has perfected the name. It is. I was speaking to him last night, and he's got it down pat.
Nawaqanitawase.
I back you.
Nawaqanitawase. There you go. Boom. That is Mark Nawaqanitawase.
That's it.
That's it. Boom. That's the name. He has signed. So I actually went and watched his highlights for a bit of research. Definitely got the physical attributes. Big, relatively strong, bit of a flick pass, fast for his size. Absolutely. There is no denying that I believe that he has the physical attributes to be an NRL player and to be a decent one of that. The question will be, and this is not to say whether he could or he can't, but I believe the question for him will be, he's actually also decent under the high ball. I believe the question will be, can he handle the physical nature of the game? Now, I'm not saying union's not physical because it is. When I say physical nature, I mean taking 20 to 25 hit-ups in a game. Can he do that? Because I'm assuming that's what his go-to is going to be. He's going to be a winger. He's going to need to make 150 to 200 metres a game because that's kind of what we expect from wingers these days. You can't really afford, unless you're an incredible finishing winger, you can't really afford to be that. That'll be the big question is, can he handle the repeat high collision, the ability to go in, take scoots, tough carries? I think that's going to be the question because the physical attributes are all there. He's a big, strong, powerful, athletic player, decent hand skills, decent offload, good footwork. If I had to bet whether he will be a solid NRL player now, absolutely. He will at the very least be a solid NRL player. If I had to bet, will he be a good NRL player? I think at the Roosters, he's giving himself almost the best in comp opportunity. You could argue maybe only Storm and Penrith have more, maybe Broncos, but we'll just go Penrith and Storm. But I'm excited. I'm really excited to see how he goes. I think he has all the physical attributes to be an extremely damaging winger.
Do you reckon there's any chance in the world that him and Suoli'i swap early?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's definitely worth it. Now, when I look at Suoli'i and I look at Nawaqanitawase, when I look at those two, I think that Suoli'i, and maybe it's because I've seen more of him, is probably a little bit more physically gifted. And if I had to bet on who would be a better NRL player, it would be Suoli'i. But that's not to say that Marky Mark can't be an absolute gun and maybe better than Suoli'i. We don't know.
Yeah.
But so the trade, would it be a fair trade? Relatively speaking, I don't think you're going to get anyone from that Wallaby side that's as close to a Suoli'i as Nawaqanitawase is. So I think it's very possible. I really do. But in saying that, Roosters are in the premiership winning business. So why would you not keep Suoli'i on the books to win a comp rather than bringing in a union guy that's going to be his first year? It's going to take him some time to get used to the game. So I think it's possible, but I probably don't think it'll happen.
Yeah, it's not beneficial to the Roosters.
There's nothing for the Roosters.
There's probably benefits for Rugby Australia and then for the players maybe, but yeah, nothing for the Roosters.
Well, the only thing it would do for the Roosters, if they weren't in a premiership window, then you'd go, yeah, it does a lot because it brings him in a year earlier, and then when their premiership window opens, he's ready to go. But this is a premiership window for them, so they're not going, we're building for next year. They're trying to win a comp this year.
Yeah.
And so if you're trying to win a comp this year, getting rid of, I know ever since he signed with Union, people like to and look, the media has a huge hand in this, like to shit on Suoli'i. Suoli'i is a generational talent. He is an absolute freak of a player, and 17 other clubs would fall over themselves to sign him.
Absolutely.
So just because he signed with Union, let's not pretend that the Roosters aren't a better side with him in the squad. Or a better club at least with him in the squad.
Yeah.
He is absolute game breaker, gets through the tough stuff. I mean, it was only last year we were talking fringes of the Origin selection. So I think that they'll keep Suoli'i because they want to win comps.
I'm so interested to see what their backline's going to be next year.
Yeah. So, we've got Tupou, Dom Young, Suoli'i, Teddy at the back, Joey Manu. How do you fit that all in? So, we've seen Suoli'i play centre. I don't think he's a centre. I have heard whispers, little birdies, that Dom Young is a centre.
Really?
Yeah. Now, maybe not. Yeah, as I said, maybe not. But the thing is you have to have Tupou, you have to have Suoli'i, and you have to have Dom Young in that back line, and Manu, obviously.
Yeah.
So it's just who are you going to put in that centre position? Can you imagine the fucking size of that centre pairing? If it's Dom Young, Suoli'i.
Oh, Dom Young, Suoli'i. Oh, my God.
As in, centre wing pairing?
Yeah.
Like, that edge, you're going to be looking up going, holy fuck.
Yeah.
It'll just be bombs to that edge all day long.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, of course.
So I wonder whether they've gone, maybe they believe Dom Young can be a centre. And they'll put him there. Or, look, okay, yeah, Suoli'i was quiet at centre and, some defensive stuff, but maybe he just needs a preseason.
That's what I reckon. I reckon they should put Suoli'i as centre.
Just give him a full preseason at centre. He is absolutely talented enough to be a full-time centre.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And Dom Young was one of the best wingers in the NRL last year. I'd be leaving him personally on the wing. Obviously, Tupou's a winger, Manu's a centre, so yeah. I know he didn't set the world on fire, but give him another chance. He's a freak.
He's not even 20.
Yeah.
I don't think he's turned 20 yet.
Yeah.
So it's we are so quick to just smash players. I don't understand it. People act like Suoli'i was shocking last year. He was a bit quiet.
Yeah.
And being quiet means, he didn't play that well and he didn't do as well as we know he can. But, bro, he's 19 years old, got moved to centre, come on, man. Come on. But anyway, back to the Union. Look, great for him. Jeez, coming into that. So Tupou will have retired.
Yep.
Suoli'i will be gone. So basically, they've got at least one of their wingers set. So it'll be Dom Young and Nawaqanitawase. It'll be those two on the sting for 2025, most likely.
Yep.
A great move for him. I know I get the idea of World Cups and all of that kind of stuff, but if he comes and explodes the way his physical ability shows that he is in his physical stature and his potential, then he'll learn
Yeah.
700-800K a year by the time he gets his big contract, and he signed for 2 years. When that finishes, if he does as well as you'd hope, he'll be offered big contracts.
Yeah. I'm pretty excited for it. It's not often we get, not recently anyway, that we get a Wallaby signing the NRL.
Like, what I like about this one is just his physical attributes. Like he's a big, athletic, fast bloke.
Yeah.
So it's not like sometimes when you got a rugby union guy coming to the league, there may be like in the halves for union, and it sometimes may not translate. Whereas like if you're big, strong, and fast, and you're willing to fucking run the ball hard, you can be a good winger in the NRL.
Yes. Like
as long as you're coordinated and you've decent reads in defence. And that's what excites me with a guy like Nawaqanitawase. I can't wait to see it. I'm excited. I really am excited. And it shows you the sign of the times, man. One of their best young guns with a World Cup coming up has gone not interested. Look, maybe
and took a big pay cut too.
Massive pay cut. Now, look, maybe it has happened in the past, but I can't remember the last 10 years where a union player has gone, like a union player at the tip of their powers has gone, I want to come to league.
Yeah, no.
It feels like the roles are reversed.
Exactly, yeah. Like back 20 years ago when everyone was...
all out, they took all our stars.
Yeah.
And I know they just took Suoliti, so I'm not sitting here saying like, oh, we've won the battle and, we're just going to get all their players. What I am saying is that one of their best young talent has gone to us.
Yep.
Now, you could argue we get their best talent before they come out of school, which is very fair. Some of our best players in NRL played union coming through school. But a current Wallaby that's one of their young superstars coming across to your league, I can't remember it happening that often. Now, it may have happened, but I can't remember it happening that often.
I can't remember it happening full stop, to be honest. Like a gun Wallaby coming play NRL.
Like literally their next big thing, apparently. So, yeah, excited. But as usual, that's us done and dusted. If you're listening to this on Friday, the 50% off sale, it ends tonight. Gone, done. As usual, we'll go and fuck ourselves.
Imagine what you could be buying instead. For free and confidential support, call the number on the screen or visit the website.